Hey, everybody, I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Catching Up with JB. On tonight's episode, I got the extreme honor to have a Topeka basketball legend and just a big person in the community, and Tony Barksdale. Tony, welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate the invite.
So, Tony, born and raised in Topeka, went to Highland Park High School, and then after Highland Park, had a 2 year stop at Coffeyville Community College, then went on to Western Michigan for 2 years. Tony, what was it like playing basketball for Highland Park in the 90s?
Man, a great experience. Exciting. It was almost like we were the UNLV running Rebels. It was kind of a replica of that on the high school level.
You were the sophomore of the year in 94, and you were also a two-time City Player of the Year, first team All-City 94, 95, and 96, first team All-Class 5A 94, 95, and 96. What did it mean to you to be first team All-City and first team All-Class 5A 3 years in a row?
I mean, it was a good feeling. I really didn't know, too much about like those teams or making teams. All I knew was just playing ball. I just wanted to play ball, and I was competitive and just wanted to win. So with that, it comes the rewards, of course, with all the teams and all class and all city and stuff like that. So I don't know. I really wasn't too focused on it. But, as you get older, you look back and you're like, man, I didn't even realize I did all that.
You were first team All-State in 96. Now that you kind of mentioned all that, did it kind of – because you were first team All-City, first team All-Class 5A 94, 95, but you didn't get that first team All-State until 96.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kind of feel like you deserved it? You deserved to be on All-State in 95?
I mean, probably. Like I said, I didn't know too much about that. All I did was go out and play. I felt I was one of the best players in the state, definitely, probably since my freshman year. Just with my approach to the game, and playing AAU, and I had seen quite a few of the players throughout the state and played against quite a few of them, and I consider myself definitely one of the top five. So, but you leave that up to the people that choose.
You're Highland Park's all-time leading scorer. With everybody that has played basketball there, what does that say about Tony Barksdale's basketball game?
That I'm a pure scorer. I've always been. I've always been since I was young, man. I tell my son, I'm like, man, you're way more skilled than I was. And that's because I'm teaching you to be. I'm adding to you what I didn't have at that age, but I was a bucket. It was just something I've always been able to do. So it means a lot.
When people talk about Highland Park basketball and they say, Tony Barksdale, Dale Cushenberry, Davey Babb, Mike Babb, you kind of got all these names that get James Patrick, all these names get thrown into this hat of who's one of the best players of all time to come from Highland Park. Well, going off of your numbers, you would have to be considered one of the best to ever play at Highland Park. So what does that mean to you to be put in the same conversation as those names I just mentioned?
Man, it's truly an honor. You know what I mean? For somebody to consider you to be one of the best to play at, probably the best high school in Topeka, I would say, as far as tradition, rich in tradition, so definitely an honor.
You would go on to attend Coffeyville Community College after your 4 years at Highland Park. You were first team all-region for 2 years at Coffeyville, and you were also the Jayhawk Conference Freshman of the Year. Did that mean anything to you, being named Freshman of the Year?
That did. That really did. Another stat I was able to achieve is, a lot of people don't know, I led the nation in 3-point field goal percentage as a freshman. And coming from high school with me playing down in the post, so because I could score, people didn't think that, I could step outside and do what I did. But during the summer, it was always me playing guard, and working on shooting the ball, handling the ball, and it was something I always done. But that right there was impressive to me more so than freshman of the year, because I was actually able to show people like, you haven't seen like the full Tony.
You were able to take your game from the inside to the outside and really show off who you were as a player.
Yep. Yep. I took pride in that. And that just comes from my upbringing with playing with my uncles, going to watch my uncles play at a young age, and them taking me to the gym and just kind of showing me and me watching them and all their friends. And I just kind of took a piece out of everybody's game I was able to watch, and then actually able to fit in and start playing with those guys and just learning the toughness, tough part of the game about being physical and just strong-willed, really developed a sharp IQ at an early age because of that.
Well, you were playing against older people, outside of school ball, you were playing against older people, so it made you tougher and better, stronger.
Yep. Always. Even at the park, Jefferson Square, all those places, just a lot of tough guys out there. You know what I mean? Really, really good competitive basketball.
You'd go on to Western Michigan after your 2 years at Coffeyville. Well, looking back on that time, I mean, that was a long time ago for you. How much of that recruiting do you remember from your Coffeyville to Western Michigan?
I remember a lot. Actually, my freshman year, I got offered from Michigan State to sign early, but they were like terrible. So I'm looking at me not knowing, I'm looking at the record like, man, I'm not going there. That's not knowing, you know what I mean? It's the Big Ten. You're going to be on TV. You're playing against Michigan. You're playing against all these schools. So I didn't really look at it like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just like kind of figuring it out on my own on the fly. Because if I'd have knew then, what I knew after when I got to Western Michigan, then I may have done it. And it was crazy because we went through the line when we played Michigan State, and Coach Izzo was like, you're supposed to be here, don't you? I'm like, man. Then they end up winning the national title in 2000. My senior year, I'm like, man, it was crazy. But no, I remember a lot. I remember a lot, man. A lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, but
you're sitting there like, man, but your guys' record though when you wanted me wasn't.
Man, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I didn't think you guys were going to turn the corner this quick.
Man, I'm telling you, that's the first thing I looked at. And then I had Memphis. Memphis had offered me. I had Tick Price was there. Iowa State was there, and that's when Tim Floyd was there. And I had talked to Tim Floyd, and he was like, I just got to be honest with you. I'm probably going to take the Chicago Bulls job. So he ended up taking the, because I was really thinking about like going to Iowa State.
Because that would put you, you're playing at KU, you're playing at K-State.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Close to home.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the KU out of high school, but he realized that was back then you had to take the SAT, ACT, and I hadn't taken that. You know what I mean? And he was just like, well, that's back then when they wasn't really taking junior college players, and I knew I had to go junior college. So that was out the window. But I would have liked to have stayed and played at either KU or K-State.
So your son Jaquez and little Tony both played at Coffeyville. They played football at Coffeyville. Was it easier for them to go to Coffeyville knowing that you already went to Coffeyville and you knew Coffeyville?
It was, but it was still their decision. You know what I mean? I left it up to them. I just know Coffeyville is rich in tradition, not only in basketball, but definitely football. And it was just the right fit for both of them at the time.
So you would end up choosing Western Michigan after your 2 years at Coffeyville. What was Kalamazoo like for you?
It was different. It was cold. It was crazy. My first year, we ended up getting like 22 inches of snow. I was like, man, what's going on? It was crazy. But the town was nice, man. People were nice. Had good fans, good fan base. Just overall, it was a good community to be in. Just cold.
So you were named All MAC conference both years there at Western Michigan. What was that like to you? Because your 4 years of college, you were named to a conference team all 4 years of college. How special was that to you?
It was good. It was very special, man. I put the work in, so it's good to see the fruits of your labor when you know you're putting the work in and you're trying to do the best you can to make it out of where you come from, to give yourself the best opportunity to be successful at a game that you enjoy playing. So
Sure, that
yeah,
is, yeah. You would go on to play 6 years overseas. You after college, that included stops in Europe, Finland, Lebanon, and Mexico. What were those six years overseas like?
it was good for me, man. It was just you get homesick a little bit because there's nothing to do but basketball. I mean, there's stuff to do, but the other stuff, wasn't my bag of tea. But it's a lot of basketball, man, and then a lot of free time. So you get kind of homesick. But the experience was amazing. You know what I mean? And of course, the money was pretty good.
So, what was each stop like? Because what country did you go to first, and which one was
Finland,
last?
Finland. I actually played like USBL. I did some of that stuff first. But I actually went to Finland first for some years, and then Lebanon. Lebanon was scary because it was all that fighting like it is now. So games getting canceled because missiles are getting shot in the other countries, and I'm like, yeah, I
I gotta
gotta
get
leave
out of
here.
here.
Yeah, I had to. So, and then my last 2 years was Mexico.
What was that like? Basketball in Mexico.
It was different. It was different. It
Um,
was different, man.
I
It
mean,
just,
did a lot of people come to the games and stuff?
yeah, no, they supported it. They supported it, but it's different. You know what I mean? Outside of basketball, different. Like you're traveling to a game. If you have to take the bus, they got speed bumps on the highway, so you're slowing down to go over the speed bump, and then which takes longer. And I'm not one that like long trips. So I'm like, oh man, just can we hurry up and get there? Can we fly? Like,
Wow, that's crazy. Speed bumps on the highway.
yeah, yeah. My first game when I first got to Mexico, and we were playing, and we ran out, we were getting warmed up, and the game was going to start. I go to shoot a three, and I see a pigeon fly across the top of the stadium because the stadium was open at the top, so it was like a different arena. So I'm like,
You're just sitting there like, what did I get myself into?
man, I'm telling you,
How did I get here?
for the love of the game,
Man, birds flying.
man, it's crazy.
So
It was fun though.
yeah, you guys made it to NCAA tournament in 1998 as an 11 seed with a 20-7 record. You defeated Clemson in the first round 75-72. What was that moment like getting to make the tournament during the selection show? They name Western Michigan is in the tournament, and then you guys go win a game.
That was actually before I got there.
Oh, that was?
Yeah, that was actually before I got there. That was one of the reasons why I chose, because coming off a tournament bid, you know what I'm saying? I just felt, and I seen the style of play.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That was your sophomore year at Coffeyville.
sophomore year at Coffeyville. Yeah, but that's what sold me on Western Michigan when the other schools kind of
They made the tournament and they were looking to recruit you.
they were looking to continue. You know what I mean? They're upward moving as far as continuing to make the tournament.
Yeah, so you're looking at Western Michigan and you're looking at Michigan State, and you're like, okay, you guys got 5 wins and they're going to the tournament. And then Iowa State, their coach is leaving.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay,
Yeah.
options are kind of, this decision's gonna be an easy one.
Yep. Yeah.
After your little playing career, after you went overseas, your 6 years overseas, you came back to Topeka. What did you get into when you came back?
As soon as I got back, I got right at it with my kids, which has always been important to me. You know what I mean? So got to it with them, just passing the knowledge and the game and stuff down that I had learned throughout the course of the years. And getting started with some teams with them, some of their friends, and some of the adults that I was friends with that had kids that were interested in playing. So
So
got right to that.
you were an assistant coach for a little bit at Highland Park, your alma mater, Highland Park. What was that like? What was it like to you to be an assistant coach at your alma mater?
It was good. Something I didn't think, that I would do, because I always considered myself a basketball player, not actually teaching the game. But it was something that happened, I enjoyed it. I learned, what I mean, how to operate, as a coach, as an assistant coach, and then as a head freshman coach. So, but anything with the youth, you know what I mean, I take a liking to, because that's really my passion, really giving back and pouring into the youth.
It's crazy that you just said that you always seen yourself as a player, but not necessarily as a coach. But I mean, that's all you do anymore. I mean, you're a coach, you're an instructor.
Yeah.
You're teaching kids how to play the game of basketball anywhere from, like you just said earlier, first grade on up to high school.
Right. Really teaching life skills through basketball. Basketball is the draw to get you in, and then get the kids to understand life. That's where you plant the bigger seed and make the biggest impact, because what you teach there is going to last them forever. Basketball is just a short period of your life, and you use it as much as you can. All right. But you're always going to need to know how to be a good person and how to operate in life. So,
Tony, you do a lot for the community. Over there, you're over there at Hillcrest, I'm pretty sure, right?
Not anymore. I was at Hillcrest forever, and I'm actually working at Cap City High School, 501 right now.
What drives you to do everything that you do for the community?
I was always taught to be the change you want to see, and just to give that back. Growing up, I remember the people that poured into me and how I felt with them doing it, and I just kind of took on that role and wanted to do the same thing. It gives me joy to see the kids happy and enjoying things, despite some of the things they may go through, just to let them know that somebody's here that's been through something similar and that has their back and that's willing to help them navigate through it, and show them how to get to a place like college, like I did, or maybe even make some money at it like I did. So I just didn't want to sit on that knowledge or that gift. I wanted to pass it down and just make a difference. That's it.
And I like how you said basketball's a draw. You get them there for basketball, and then you teach life skills, because a lot of kids might only have a mom at home. They might just have a dad at home, and then they come to basketball for a way to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
They come to basketball, then that's where you build them up.
Yeah, definitely build them up there. Now, we ain't going to get it twisted, because when you do come in there for basketball, you're going to get some real work. The requirement, we don't have do anything. So my motto is, you get better or you got to leave the gym, and then come back the next day. But definitely, yeah, basketball is the draw. I want you to have fun doing that. But we teach you, the life skills, and it's not just me. I have a team of people that help me, that I appreciate very much, that do the same thing, that are like-minded. So
you said you guys were just in Kansas City this weekend for a basketball tournament. What's your team called?
Our team is called The Town. We were Top City forever, the original Top City. And then everybody started taking that name. So we just switched it up a little bit to The Town.
The Town.
Yeah.
That's definitely a switch.
Yeah.
It go from Top City to The Town.
The Town. Because everybody's Top City. You look around, Top City, we the original Top City, but it's good to represent from where you're from. But I just kind of wanted something different, going back into it, restarting the teams. Because I stopped for a while. I tried to collaborate with a few guys and so on, but coming back into it, I wanted something a little bit different. And actually, my wife came up with it, so I got to give her credit for it. I just went ahead and stamped it.
Hey, what she says goes, right?
Hey, most of the time, some of the time.
Do you ever see yourself being a head coach at the high school level?
I know I could be. But we all know how the game goes sometimes. You know what I mean? So I don't get too much into that. When it's my time, it'll be my time. I'm not the one that forces anything. You know what I'm saying? I just let God lead, and if He leads me in that direction, you know, it'll be for me. I'll know when it's for me, but I don't force anything.
What's it like to you to be a father and watch your kids succeed at sports?
That's been like everything I've always wanted to be. You know, I've always wanted to be a good dad. You know, growing up, having my stepdad step in, my stepdad is like major piece, you know, in my life, because my real dad didn't come through until like I was 20 something, which our relationship now is pretty good, but just not having like that part too much growing up, you know what I mean? It was just tough. So being a father was always something I vowed that I was going to do and do great at. So.
Now, Jaquez, I like when people talk about Jaquez because Jaquez is at Buffalo now for football.
Mm-hmm.
How's he liking it up there?
Yeah, he's loving it. He's loving it, man. He's doing great. He's doing great.
Because he's worked hard for that just to get to Buffalo for football. You know, go from Shawnee Heights to Coffeyville, and then I think did he miss a season at Coffeyville with the injury?
Yeah, he was at Butler first,
But
and he actually got injured in the Shrine Bowl practice because he got selected for the Shrine Bowl out of Topeka High his senior year.
I thought he was at Shawnee Heights. Why did I? For some reason, I thought he went Shawnee Heights. So it was
No.
It was Little Tony with Shawnee Heights.
Little Tony was Shawnee Heights.
Jaquez was at Topeka High with Kai.
Yeah.
There we go. So Topeka High, and then you said he went to Butler.
He went to Butler out of Topeka High, and then he left Butler for Coffeyville.
And then he went from Coffeyville to Buffalo.
There
we go. Now I'm on the right
road. Yeah.
So what was that all like for him? Because he got hurt, and you know he could have easily just said, you know, I'm just done.
Yeah, Jaquez is like me. You know, he's kind of reserved, but he's locked in. You know what I mean? And he doesn't let anything rattle him. So he did. It does take a lot to you know, have an injury like that and to be able to come back for it. But his determination is crazy. It's really crazy, and his work, you know, work ethic is crazy. So,
did you guys get to make very many trips up to Buffalo last year for football season?
Not very many. We did go up to Wisconsin when they played Wisconsin, but we were able to check some games out.
So how's it? They're doing spring football right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. He's at the number 1 slot now, running back, so he'll be playing a whole lot more. They had a coaching change. Their coach left for Alabama, which I could say a lot about that. But
yeah, he left. He left to be an assistant coach at Alabama, didn't he?
He left to be an assistant coach at Alabama.
That you're kind of still elevating. You know,
yeah, I mean, he had an extensive resume though. He had been the coach for the Dallas Cowboys, cornerbacks coach, and he just kind of had been all over. So I can't fault him for that, taking that position. I wish he could have went about it a different way, and as far as communication and like really caring about the young man, as far as just having the decency to let them know. But to absolutely say nothing, you got to definitely watch the recruiting process, because they'll woo you in.
Oh, yeah.
And it's strictly about upward, you know what I mean,
They're looking
ability for
out.
them.
They're trying to. Coaches are
Yeah,
trying to elevate.
yeah. Trying
They'll
to elevate.
they'll smooth talk you all they want
Yeah,
to get you there, but once you're there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they just care about winning games.
That's it, man. And part of why I do what I do is to show the kids like beyond this game, I still want to be here. You know, as you get older and start to become a young man, I want to be able to attend your wedding. You know what I mean? I want to be able to come to your college graduation. You know what I mean? I want to be able to know who your kids are. You know what I mean? And just keep in contact and stay interested in who you become from a young man to an actual man.
Yep.
I'm interested in that. But a lot of coaches, and I get it, you run across so many players that may be hard to do, but at least try to do it and have the decency to have a conversation when you're going to make a decision like that.
If you can tell your teenage self anything, what would it be?
Um, I don't know. Let me think about that. I don't know. I stay pretty locked in, man. Probably if I could go back and do it again to give myself the best chance and opportunity, I would have liked to have been more knowledgeable about taking that ACT and being able to play Division I right out of high school instead of having to take the route that I took. With that being said, I also probably would have looked into doing like a prep school like a lot of the guys were doing. Because I remember when I was in high school and the first wind of prep school and all that stuff came out was when Stephon Marbury had that ESPN special. And we were all like, hold on, what? This is a high school kid, prep school, like what? You know, but we had a coach, Coach Williams, who came from New Jersey, uh, up under Bobby Hurley's dad. And he was telling me about it like my sophomore, junior year. He was telling me about it. He was like, man, I'm telling you, you need to go up that way. And I had an aunt that still lives in New Jersey, and he was trying to get me to go up that way to do it. But if I'd have known more about it, you know what I mean, and people would have gave me more information on it, that probably could have changed the trajectory of my career.
Yeah, because prep schools, they can really elevate your game if you're using. I mean, it's same with a JUCO if you
Mm-hmm.
use it the right way.
No, it's definitely help elevate your game, but it's almost like you have to play the politics to be able to get in.
Yes.
So if you get in and you get the right person to say your name, and then you can back up what they said with your abilities, you know what I mean? The opportunities are going to be there. So, and anymore, that's what it is. You know, there's guys that can play that aren't at these schools that don't get the opportunities that the guys at these schools get, or the notoriety that are actually some I've seen are better than the guys, but they just don't get that opportunity because they're not in this specific environment.
Yeah.
So
or they're not. Yeah, they're not demographic area.
yeah,
They're
there's a lot.
not getting recruited by these guys out of high school.
Yeah, there were
They,
a lot of guys I ran across and be like, man, you from where? And you're doing this, man. If you lived in Texas, if you lived in Dallas, you would be doing this or you would be doing that. If you lived here, I got tired of hearing that. Like, man,
or you hear you're from Kansas.
man, they couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Hoopers don't come from Kansas.
Man, I tell you, the ones I've come across, they know now. All my friends that I had the opportunity to play with from New York and all the other places, Dallas, New Orleans, they know now. They got a lot of respect.
Tony, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, giving me some of your free time to come on here and just talk about your high school career and your stops at Coffeyville and then Western Michigan. And now what you're doing in the community. What you're doing in the community is just huge. Coaching kids basketball and just being there for the kids. That's giving them a platform to play on. That's huge.
No, I appreciate it, man. That's the gift I have, and I believe it's the way that God wants me to go as far as giving back. So anything I know or I've learned, I try to funnel it, into the kids just to give them the best opportunity possible to be successful at a game that they enjoy playing as well as life. So anything I have, I just give my all as far as what I know, like I said, and pouring it into them to try to make things a little bit easier.
Now, when you were in high school, were you Mike Jackson and Posey? Posey was younger than you, correct?
Yeah, him and Mike were younger than me.
Yeah, they're two. They're just two more in that long list of basketball players that are fighting for that top 10, just a spot in the top 10.
But man, it's a lot.
And a lot of them are all from the 90s.
It's a lot. John Sweet,
John Sweet. I mean,
John Sweet was a bad boy. Hey, he was football and basketball. Yeah.
And then you hit that darting era where you had Buster Miller and Troy, which was with Briscoe and darting. And then you got Kyle Weems, Lamont Austin, Rico Richardson, Adrian Herrera.
Yeah.
That list just grows.
Rich in tradition, man. Highland Park is rich in tradition in basketball, man. That tradition runs deep. Deep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You had Jamel, you had Larry with me, Daryl, Darian, Verser, man. I'm telling you. Ray Wilson after us, Randy Hodge, Ryan Hofer.
Yeah, both Hofers.
I'm telling you, Troy was our ball boy.
Yeah, Troy could shoot.
Yeah, Troy was tough.
That boy can shoot from anywhere.
Troy was tough.
He was like Adrian Herrera before Adrian Herrera. Who was your coach? Did you have Briscoe at Highland Park?
Briscoe, yeah.
I got you. Because then
Briscoe.
And then he coached Buster for 2 years, I think, and then Darting had Buster for 2 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. That was Briscoe.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot. That's another story for you, I feel like. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, Tony.
Yeah, ain't no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.